They're a couple, and they're friends. The situation is getting awkward because there's some tension between her and him. You can feel it. And 95% of people end up making these mistakes. Here's the first mistake. Daniel and Pedro are childhood friends. They meet at a wedding and both have gorgeous girlfriends. After chatting for a while, Pedro starts feeling a little bad. He can't stop thinking that Daniel's girlfriend seems better than his. She's cheerful, pays attention to what Pedro is saying, is helpful by bringing drinks for everyone, and is super affectionate with Daniel. The funny thing is, Daniel secretly thinks the same about Pedro's girlfriend. Not exactly the same, but he does feel Pedro's girlfriend has amazing qualities his own girlfriend doesn't. He finds her comments incredibly smart and loves how elegant and cultured she seems. For both of them, the grass seems greener on the other side. They focus on all the good things about their friend's girlfriend and ignore what they have. And you know what happens next? Pedro gets drunk.
Wait! Not that part yet. You'll ruin the video. First, tell the office gossip.
You mean the married guy?
Yes. Him.
All right, but we'll come back to the wedding story. Felipe's been married 10 years. The honeymoon phase? Long gone. Now he complains about everything, from toothpaste caps to forgotten birthdays. He knows all her flaws. Meanwhile, there's a sweet new coworker. She brings him coffee, asks about his sleep, always cheerful and well-dressed. Felipe compares her best traits to his wife's worst. When he comes home tired to more nagging, the temptation grows. But we know this story. The grass always seems greener on the other side. If he left his wife, he'd find flaws in the new one too, and regret losing a partner who stood by him for a decade. It's a bias. We idealize what we don't have and criticize what we do. Anyway, back to the wedding drama. As the night unfolds, Pedro says, "Your girlfriend is amazing, so cheerful and sweet." Daniel laughs. "Try spending a whole day with her." He continues, "But your girlfriend, she is so elegant and cultured." Pedro replies, "Trust me, 24/7 isn't all sunshine." They hug and say, "The grass always seems greener on the other side." Their girlfriends overheard everything. The elegant one says, "It is always the same. At first, they treat me like a queen, but then they start taking me for granted and drooling over whoever comes along." The cheerful one replies, "Are you calling me whoever?" "Kidding. I saw your boyfriend eyeing me too." They laugh, agreeing most men fall for the illusion, until it's too late. Then, grinning, they hit the dance floor together. Oh, and before I forget, there's a book I want to recommend. It's one I wish I'd read before turning 30, because it shows how small changes in your habits can completely transform your life. It's called Atomic Habits. If you're smart but not disciplined, use the Ulysses rule. Make a smart decision now to force yourself to act in a certain way in the future. You need to create a system that protects you from yourself. In one of his adventures, Ulysses had to sail past the Siren's Reef, which was littered with shipwrecks and skeletons because no sailor or ship had ever made it through. The Siren's song made sailors hallucinate, showing them whatever they most desired, leading them to crash their ships into the reef where the sirens would devour them. Ulysses was wise enough to know he couldn't rely on sheer willpower. Looking at the reef, he thought, "I'm no more disciplined or strong-willed than those who failed before me." But he still wanted to hear the siren's song. So he ordered his crew to plug their ears with wax and tie him to the mast with 10 ropes. He warned them, "Just like those sailors who perished, I'm weak-willed. When I hear the sirens, I'll probably scream and curse at you, begging to be freed. But no matter what I say, don't untie me." As they approached the reef, Ulysses felt the power of the siren's song taking hold. But before we see whether his plan succeeded or failed, think about how you could use the Ulysses rule in your life. For instance, the writer Victor Hugo, who was wealthy, a socialite, and a heavy drinker, struggled to sit down and write. When he absolutely needed to get work done, he'd use the Ulysses rule. He'd lock himself in his office with only paper and a pen and instruct his servant to take away his clothes and not return them for 4 hours. This way, he eliminated the temptation